Every single year, we scour the earth, quite literally, for some of the most flavorful, unique, beautiful, and easy to grow crops for the upcoming season.
So today we're going to unveil the 25 new varieties for 2026, including something that colors your tea a secret fancy color, and also 3 lawn alternatives. So let's get right into it.
Everyone loves a beautiful greens bed. I certainly do, and there's one crop that's actually not in this bed, but is one of my favorite greens to grow, even though when you cook it, it disappears to almost nothing. Of course, I'm talking about spinach. This year, we've got a couple spinach at our seed company, Botanical Interest, but we're introducing a new one called Space. The cool part about this one is it's really known for its upright growth habit, which would make it perfect for a small urban gardener like how I started gardening back in the day. You could put them in a bed like this and they'll grow upright, nice and compact, good tolerance to basically all season growing, meaning right now, as you watch this video, even in colder climates, you could probably pull off growing Space spinach in a cold frame under some cover. And before we go any further, if you want to get your hands on these seeds, of course they're online, but a lot of our seeds are 20% off right now, as well as the rest of our store is pretty much everything is 25% off for our Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale on Epic Gardening and Botanical Interests. So you can check out the link in the description, but let's get on to our next new variety.
As I'm sitting in this field of brassicas, I'm realizing that Kevin hasn't planted any of my favorite type out there, and that is broccolini. And this year we're actually carrying a new variety called Asperbrock, which has a silly name, but let me explain it. It's tender like an asparagus stem. So when you're eating the actual stem of the broccoli, it's not going to be all hard and fibrous, but it's still sweet and delicious like all broccolini is. Now, this is a prolific grower. It does really well in cool climates, but instead of like a normal heading broccoli, broccolini produces tons and tons of side shoots. They're really tasty, and this one has quickly become one of my favorites.
When it comes to trellis growing, I am no stranger to getting into the mix. I've got loofah hanging on either side of my face right now, sandwiched between possibly a gardener's delight. But what I'm talking about today, these 2 new varieties we're bringing in that work well for trellises, at least you'd think, are peas. So if you're an apartment gardener, you're a small space gardener, you don't have a trellis, you don't care about building a trellis, this pea is the one to go for. It's Little Marvel. It's been around for quite some time. We're happy to introduce it here at Botanical, but what it's great for is that container grower. It does not need support. They'll grow about 3 or 4 feet in a bushier type of growth habit. It's a shelling pea, it's highly compact, and it's highly productive. Now, if you are like me and are standing underneath a beautiful arch that you're wondering what to put on it in fall or spring, then I would recommend the Mammoth Melting Snow Pea. It'll get to about 5 or 6 feet tall. It's a snow pea, which means that you're gonna come through the trellis and you're gonna snack on that guy, and it may not even make it inside, but if it does, freezing it is a great way to store the abundant harvest you are sure to have. And if you're in a cold climate, even right now in some areas, as we talk about this in November of 2025, you can actually still plant these and get a decent harvest.
As I stand here and marvel at this beautiful amaranth, I'm realizing that my fall and spring gardens both need some tall, beautiful flowers that will provide color throughout the entire year. And there's nothing better for that season than the sweet pea. In this case, we have a new variety called the Mammoth Navy Blue. As the name suggests, it has this kind of blue, indigo, beautiful flowers. And the great thing about these is that they're on long stems. They have really big blooms, which makes them wonderful for vases and bouquets. But this variety is also drought and heat tolerant, which means that it could really push deep into the season.
As I sit here enjoying the epic pond, I'm realizing I've neglected the margins of this pond just a touch, and I really want to get more into ornamental gardening. So we brought in a variety called Nicotiana Bronze Queen. This is a cool one, guys. This has unique bronze tone flowers. It has a very great scent, and that's not super usual when you come to an ornamental that you're putting in the garden. An evening scent will sort of waft through the air if you've got these growing well and tall in your garden. They will bloom from summer all the way up until a killing frost, and they have those sort of trumpet type shaped flowers. So if there are hummingbird species in your area, anything with that long beak, they will be coming to these like crazy. So you get a scent, you get a beautiful color, and it's a unique color, by the way, and you also get some pollinators and birds coming in. Hard to beat this one.
Just like Kevin, I'm also trying to expand my ornamental game, although mine might be a little bit better, but there's still a lot for me to learn. And one of those new things is varieties. This one is called Ageratum or Ageratum. I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but the variety name is Dondo White. And the cool thing about this flower is that it forms very fluffy, kind of pincushion-like balls of blooms, and this one is a very pure white. So they're like little fluffy white clouds, and the plant gets 24 to 30 inches tall, which means that you could really set it as a focal point or put it on the edge of your garden to really bring in that beautiful light shining through those fluffy white flowers.
So I was over on Jacques' channel and he was really sad about some of his bigger failures, including even basic crops like squash. I'm not sure how, 5+ years in, he can't grow them, but we brought a variety in for those of you who have struggled. This one is called Triumph, and I think it's aptly named because when you think about squash, you think about things like powdery mildew, downy mildew, all sorts of diseases that can ruin your squash, but also the fact that it can sprawl all over the place. Sometimes it's spiky. This one engineers out most of those problems. It's very compact, it is less spiny or spiky, and it has one of the best packages of disease resistance you'll ever see. I'm gonna read it off to you. Zucchini yellow mosaic virus, watermelon mosaic virus, papaya ring spot virus, just in case. And, of course, powdery mildew. Now, I will say that the squash itself does not look like anything crazy special. It looks like a great green Triumph summer squash, but it will grow really well for you, and that's what matters with this variety.
If you're looking for a long season plant that attracts pollinators but still adds an interesting color to your garden, well, then you might be looking for Fata Morgana. This is a scabiosa, another one of those flowers that I have grown a little bit, but not that extensively. And I want to actually just read the description on the packet because I think it says everything you need to hear. Delicate peach blooms atop slender stems create a visual feast in the garden, adding elegance and texture to borders and bouquets. And what more do you need to hear? I am a sucker for any sort of peachy colored flower, and this one is definitely growing in my garden next year.
When it comes to a garden, of course, green is the most abundant color you're going to see, but you're typically gonna see it on the leaves. I've got sweet potatoes, I have peppers, I have all sorts of green leafy crops, but I don't currently have Celosia spring green. What's interesting here is the visual intrigue, of course, is not the leaves. It is going to be the top of that Celosia, which has sort of like a green brain look. You don't often see a blooming head or other botanical structure besides a leaf that is this beautiful sort of lime green, and it gets quite tall. I have an amaranth sitting over here that's about 40 inches tall. I myself am about 6'4". This will get to 40 inches, so about 3¼ feet tall, which is quite nice. You can cut this or you can let it be. I don't know about you, but it will be in my garden come next season.
If you've ever gone out to your garden and harvested some basil, but then when you flip the leaf over, you notice that it was covered in a weird black powder, well, my friend, you probably have downy mildew, and that basil plant probably died only a few days later. But luckily for you, we now carry a variety of basil that is resistant to downy mildew, and that is Noga. You might see up here that it says Prospera active. That means that it has been bred with that downy mildew resistance. And this is actually something that has plagued my garden as well. So for me, I always grow Prospera type basils. I've never had a problem with that downy mildew disease yet. But somebody that does have a problem growing basil seems to be Kevin, because I can't find a single plant in his garden. So if you do struggle, try this one out and you might solve all your issues.
If you're looking to lay back and chill in your garden, something ornamental, something beautiful, but something unique, we have a really cool variety this year. It's Columbine Eastern Red. It is native from Nova Scotia down to Florida. So it's an East Coast banger. I haven't really grown it much in my garden, but a lot of the East Coasters on our team and out there obviously know quite a bit about this plant. It's just very beautiful. It sort of has these lantern-like nodding flowers, red, yellow. I can't say enough about how cool the aesthetic of this plant is. It's going in my garden. I think it's got this kind of like foresty, riverbank, wooded area vibe. So perhaps if you want to style a garden that way, this would be a good addition. Or if you just want to mess around with something that looks a little unique, I would give Eastern Red Columbine a try.
One of the most important things for me in the garden when it comes to beauty is to have plants that have movement to them. And this bougainvillea is no stranger to movement with these long, delicate branches. But if you're looking for something native to Texas and Louisiana, or just for something beautiful, Gaura is another sleeper plant that I have not grown in my garden, but I think I will be adding this year. It has very delicate, airy butterfly-like blooms, which dance in the wind all throughout the evening and night. And since it is a native, it can bloom for a very long period of time. Just one note, this plant does like a little bit of cold before it actually germinates, so fall and spring are a great time to get this started in your garden. One of the really cool things about this year's new additions is that many of the flowers are native to different regions across North America, and one of those is the scarlet cinquefoil. This is more native to the Arizona, New Mexico border region. And the cool thing about this guy is that it's not only a native, but it's a perennial wildflower. This thing can bloom from 6,000 to 9,000 feet. It's usually in meadows or forest margins. It's a wonderful wildlife attractor. Pollinators go crazy for it, including bees, and it has a deep, beautiful scarlet red color. So give this guy a try. It's very adaptable. It grows in a lot of marginal areas. And I think I might try it as well because I'm a sucker for these nice scarlet flowers.
As resident plant daddy here at Epic Gardening, I've grown my fair share of fruits, dragon fruits, lemons, limes, peaches, cherries, and over the last few years, I've really enjoyed growing watermelons. We're bringing a new one to you this season. It is called Cream of Saskatchewan. As the name implies, it's a great northern climate watermelon, but I've grown yellow watermelons. I've grown, of course, red watermelons. I have yet to grow one with this sort of creamy, yellowish color on the inside. So I'm very curious to see the flavor of it. It's supposed to be quite good. Kind of makes sense because in a northern climate it would probably be a touch sweeter, but it's a perfect serving watermelon. It's not one of those giants. It's about 6 to 11 pounds, 10-inch fruit. Easy to grow, planted in mounds. We've got a bunch of watermelon guides on. I'm so excited to grow it this season, and I might even say it's my favorite new entrant in the 2026 lineup.
Sometimes I walk through the garden and I think, how could I possibly preserve this so I could look at this beauty later on throughout the year? And there is actually one flower out there that is perfect for this, and it is the straw flower. And this year we've added the king-size silvery rose, which has this really beautiful, almost cream-like color as it begins to develop until it unfurls into this giant, beautiful white straw flower. Now, the thing I was mentioning earlier is the fact that when these guys are dried, they will retain whatever color they had for years to come. All you have to do is cut them as they are blooming right before they open all the way, hang them upside down. And once they're dry, that color is locked in and you will be able to enjoy it all throughout the year. Now, one little tip on this guy, because a lot of people struggle to grow it, is that it does need light to germinate. So when you're sowing it either in 6-cells or in your garden, just press the seeds lightly into the surface, give it a water and walk away. So do not bury the seeds or else you might not ever see this bloom in your garden.
You know, as I stand here next to my bird feeders, this is only 3 of the about 15 I have in the garden. I'm not seeing as many plants right around this as I would like in what is kind of my cottage garden area. In fact, I kind of want some plants to be cheek to cheek, which is why we brought in Clarkia Rosie cheek to cheek. Like Jacques, and in fact, a little less so than Jacques, but still like Jacques, I'm not as experienced growing flowers as I am with vegetables. So Clarkia is not one that has made it into this specific garden, but over at Botanical Interests in Colorado at our test garden, we've grown it out extensively. It's a beautiful mix here. You've got white, pink, salmon colored flowers. I would call this your quintessential cottage garden look. Very beautiful, 20 to 30 inches tall, and you can get a beautiful cottagey look whether you're using bird feeders or like Jacques, you're just trying to tiptoe your way into growing some more ornamentals.
As we're winding down the end of what's left of the summer garden, I'm over here admiring Kevin's first success ever growing peppers in his garden. I have to say he's done a decent job. But all jokes aside, some people say you cannot grow a hatch chili unless you're from New Mexico, but joke's on them because we now carry the New Mex Heritage Big Jim Roasting Pepper. Now this is a hatch type chili, so whether it is from the right region and has the right provenance or not, you could still grow it in your garden. This one has thick walls, it's a little bit spicier than the normal one that you get, but it has this beautiful range of green to red and you could harvest it at either stage and enjoy this pepper roasted up into some delicious enchilada sauce. If you're looking to add a splash of playful, unique, vibrant colors to your garden, then you're gonna wanna check out this magic mix of monkey flowers. Now, monkey flowers are one of my favorites because they have these nice long tubular flowers, kind of similar to this impatient, but even longer. Think more like a honeysuckle. And the cool thing about this style of flowers is that they're very attractive to things like hummingbirds, butterflies, and moths, and anything else that has a nice long tongue that goes deep into those flowers. The cool thing about this particular mix of monkey flowers is that it's a more low growing type, so you could really put it around the edges and margins of your garden, on the edge of a raised bed or a container, and provide beautiful splashes of colors. And since it's a blend, the fun part of it is you don't know what color you're gonna get where you plant it.
I'm back with my expertise, of course, flowers, despite what Jacques might be telling you, and he's done me the kindness of giving me our other scabiosa to present to you. Of course, the first one was a sort of a cream colored scabiosa. This one is the Snow Maiden. Cool name, very, very white. In fact, even probably a bit more white than this flower right here, which of course is not a scabiosa. It's a great border planting. You would use it kind of like this plant is used here. You would also use it in a container or a patio or maybe one of our green stalks, which are on discount for our Black Friday sale, by the way. And it has a nice honey scent. So to me, a scabiosa is kind of a quintessential flower to put in your garden. I would put it in like the peas category if you were to translate vegetables to flowers. Common, but not super common that you'd grow it all the time. And if you haven't, I'd give it a try.
Well, it is no secret that I love tomatoes. In fact, I love them more than anything else I grow in my garden, which is why I've planted some in Kevin's greenhouse as well. Because if I could get one extra tomato, I will always take that chance. And it's hard to get excited about a new seed lineup if you're not announcing a new tomato, which is why we're adding the Castellano Genovese. This deeply ribbed, deep red, delicious tomato is a really fun one. It's an heirloom, but one of the cool things about it is that it is a multi-purpose use tomato, which I've really become a fan of lately. What I mean by that is that it is meaty, not that watery, which lends it to really good sauce making, but it is still flavorful and delicious enough that you could slice it up and eat it as a nice big tomato salad with some fresh basil, a little drizzle of olive oil, salt and pepper, and you are good to go, my friends. So check it out, fantastic classic. I am excited to grow it in my garden for sure this coming spring.
As promised, we saved the best for last, and these don't look like seed packets, do they, Jacques?
No, they're actually our seed shakers.
And what we've done is we've said, we're not fans of lawns here at Epic, at least the traditional American lawn. We haven't been for over a decade.
Yeah, I don't have any lawn. I don't want to mow it. I don't want to touch it.
I don't want to see it. I don't want to interact with it, and I definitely don't want to touch it. So what we've done is we've introduced 3 alternative lawn solutions for you in a shaker with no filler seed. Whatever we say is in this, that's all that's in it. It's not like some little millet or weird stuff that's going to sprout up and create some weeds, which, let's just be honest, are in other shakers. Kick it off with yours, Jacques, probably the most interesting one.
Yeah, this one's called Eco Ease. It's a flowering mix. So this is more of like a replacement for your lawn. It won't be that tall. I believe it's 12 to 16 inch blooms, but it will create a nice, beautiful, almost prairie-like feel in your yard.
So that one will cover 1,000 square feet.
Yeah.
If you want to get a little wilder and you go straight up clover lawn, which is becoming really popular even on like Pinterest these days.
Yeah, that's true.
This will cover 5,300 square feet. This is just white clover. I think it's a great lawn replacement. I think it looks prettier. It's fluffy. You do get the clover blooms coming out, which to me gives a little texture to the lawn. Mm-hmm. You don't have to worry about your kids running all over it. It's fine, it'll come back. And even if not, just sprinkle a little bit more, much like you would with any other type of sod. But then you have this one. If you're just still a little hooked on that lawn train, you can get the micro clover and fescue mix. Fescue, of course, being something that does show up in a typical lawn sometimes. So you get a little closer to that lawn, but you're adding a bit more sustainability to it, a little bit more visual intrigue, and you're probably not having to water or weed it as much.
That's for sure.
Jacques, are we offering a banana seed this year?
No seeds, but we do have the plant.
We do have the plant, which will come right to your door if you want. But we do have something just as cool, if not arguably cooler.
It does a little bit more.
I'm gonna go by the Latin name. See if you can guess it, Jacques. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Clitoria terniata.
A butterfly pea.
That's the butterfly pea. Of course, the Latin name is a little bit suggestive, but the plant itself is quite suggestive, I would say, both in visual look and what it does to a drink if you were to brew something with the butterfly pea flowers.
Which is why this variety is called blue tea, because when you add it to any sort of hot liquids, it will diffuse this wonderful blue color. I've seen it in trendy coffee shops with like matcha and lemonades. So if you want to just try it at home, you could just grow it and you don't have to spend $8 on that single drink.
The reason why on the packet there is a lemon on the glass is because it's like a 2-for-1. If you squeeze something acidic in it, it will actually turn more of a purplish light pink.
That's actually really cool. It's like a pH indicator.
It's a 2-in-1 beautiful drink plant, which is kind of odd. You'd never see that. I'm very excited to carry it. Of course, it's been around. It's just we actually have it as seed this year. Not only that though, Jacques, it's beautiful in the garden.
Yep.
It's beautiful for pollinators. That sort of flower structure will bring in some unique pollinators.
And binding, so it's a nice climber.
Good climber. We're standing by the banana just because we want to flex it. Honestly, I've never grown this many bananas in my life.
It's a good rack.
But so many new varieties, 22 plus the lawn alternatives. Remember, sales going on right now for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, but you will be able to find all these varieties in 5,000 plus stores nationwide next season. Good luck in the garden and keep on growing.